Great North Woods to the Rock Mount Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Republican lawmakers are criticizing Governor Janet Mills' response surrounding MaineCare. We'll take a look at their press conference coming up. Plus, Business Day was hosted at the State House, an event where lawmakers showcase Maine's business sector. And an elementary school in Waldo County may be closing its doors due to low enrollment rates. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. The temperatures are going to dip back down today and will definitely have a chance of rain. Let's get a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier, 2493040. Alrighty, here we go. We have advisories posted. We have a winter weather advisory in a purple that will last until later on today or this evening at around 11 p.m. Winter storm warnings until Thursday at around 2 a.m. And we also have some advisories along the coast. Gale watches until Thursday at around noon, and also some small craft advisories or so that are also posted. Meanwhile, as we do move forward, we're watching precipitation moving in from the southwest and going toward the north and east. So we are going to be watching for this wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow that will be moving in later on today. Doesn't look like a whole lot just yet, but we are seeing it moving from the west and going toward the east. Even some lightning with this too, so a lot of energy with the system that will be moving in our direction, really getting going later on today. A lot of ice with the system further off towards the north before it transitions over to rain with warmer air that will be on the way very soon. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of clouds and the precipitation gets going this afternoon with temperatures warming into the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, an Augusta man will spend 4 years in prison for killing a man in Cushing back in 2024. 41-year-old Jason Hewitt pleaded guilty on March 2nd to manslaughter in the death of 45-year-old Kyle McDougal back in 2024. Police say Hewitt went to the home in Cushing to buy drugs. They say a dispute escalated and Hewitt shot McDougal. Hewitt pleaded guilty under a plea agreement reached with the Attorney General's office just before the trial was set to get underway. At his sentencing on Tuesday morning, Hewitt told McDougal's family he was sorry for their loss and their pain. He also said they wanted to know answers about what happened the day of that shooting. Hewitt said he did not call 911 because he was scared.
There with a criminal record. Anytime that happens, Jason Gouch is there. Record, you must be guilty of it. And I feared exactly this right here, that I would call 911 and I would be sitting before a court pleading for my life. For that, I'm sorry.
The judge sentenced Hewitt to 14 years in prison with all but 4 years suspended and 4 years of probation. Meanwhile, Bangor police are investigating the death of an infant. Details are very few right now, but Sergeant Jeremy Brock says officers responded to a residence on Grove Street on March 7th. He says the Bangor Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division will be working with the medical examiner's office to investigate the 7-month-old child's death. We will definitely bring you more information as that becomes available. Well, in another investigation into alleged drug trafficking in Searsport has landed 5 people in jail. Maine Drug Enforcement Commander Lowell Woodman says their agents, the Waldo County Sheriff's Office, and Searsport Police have been conducting an investigation over the past several months. He says that investigation included several undercover purchases of both cocaine base and methamphetamine from 2 residences. Warrants were executed at 22 Homestead Lane and 119 Loop Road early on Tuesday morning. Agents found more than $4,300 in suspected drug proceeds, 70 grams of methamphetamine, 24 grams of cocaine, and 2 guns at 119 Loop Road. Officers found 28 firearms and 29 grams of methamphetamine at 22 Homestead Lane. 47-year-old Melissa Dyer and 65-year-old David Hersom, both of Searsport, are charged with unlawful drug trafficking. 42-year-old Holly Jo Ward of Searsport, 20-year-old Yangel Mateo Nunez of Lawrence, Massachusetts, and 22-year-old Nelkis Alexander Violia Perez, also of Lawrence, Massachusetts, are both charged with aggravated drug trafficking. Maine's Secretary of State has joined those from other states to get confirmation that ICE agents won't be deployed to polling locations during the 2026 election cycle. On March 3rd, former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee and said, quote, "There are no plans to have ICE officers at our polling locations," end quote. The Secretaries of State have written a letter to the Secretary of Homeland Security nominee, Mark Wayne Mullen, seeking that confirmation. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bello says, quote, "that we even have to ask for written assurances that the federal government won't deploy armed agents to the polls is a sad and frightening sign of the times we're in," end quote. As lawmakers inch closer to adopting Maine's first statewide data privacy law, business groups are continuing to voice strong opposition. Dozens of employers gathered at the State House yesterday for a business day, an event designed to encourage conversations with lawmakers and showcase Maine's business sector. Organizers also used the event to raise concerns about LD 1822, which, if enacted, would create some of the strongest consumer data privacy protections in the country. Opponents are concerned it will hinder small business marketing and make it hard for them to compete with large out-of-state corporations.
The big brands, they can use television ads. We don't have that available to these small businesses. They need targeted advertising, and it works. We need to preserve these digital tools to the Maine business economy.
Democratic sponsor Representative Amy Kuhn of Falmouth said there are safeguards in place to limit any impact on Maine businesses, noting that the bill expressly permits targeting advertising. Supporters say the bill would give Mainers more control over how their personal data is used online amidst the widespread adoption of AI technology.
A lot of Mainers are really concerned about AI. I just saw a poll yesterday that 66% of Mainers are more concerned than they are hopeful. And it's up to the legislature really to address that and try to protect provide meaningful protections.
The bill already passed the House, and an amended version narrowly passed it in the Senate last week. The bill will now return to the House floor, where representatives must decide whether to approve that legislation. Republican lawmakers are criticizing Governor Janet Mills' response to federal inquiries surrounding MaineCare, the state's Medicare program, while offering new legislation that aims to address MaineCare integrity. Our Grace Blanchard shares more.
The federal government is coming after fraud. Period.
Republican leaders blasted Governor Janet Mills' response to MaineCare federal inquiries, accusing the governor of prioritizing political attacks over accountability.
So I thought the whole tone of her response was very insulting and very inadequate, and not the way that Mainers want their state to interact and deal with the federal government.
Last Friday, Governor Mills formally submitted a more than 40-page response to federal authorities, addressing concerns over MaineCare's management after a federal audit found millions in alleged improper payments.
Maine will not be intimidated by the threats of a president who's using allegations of fraud as a pretext to hurt people.
The governor outlined efforts by the state in recent years to increase oversight of Medicaid providers. However, Republican lawmakers argued the response was inadequate and offered little proof of concrete corrective measures.
It doesn't acknowledge the systemic weakness that were revealed in the program integrity audits.
Governor Mills says she has not received an update from the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, though she does anticipate retaliation regardless of their findings. She offered a brief response to the criticism from Republicans.
Inadequate. Okay, well, that's their view.
Senate Minority Leader Trey Stewart has proposed legislation that aims to address MaineCare integrity and sustainability concerns. However, he is not feeling optimistic about it receiving bipartisan support.
We still have other reforms that we need to make, or else risk jeopardizing even more federal money going forward. And so this bill is timely, this bill is necessary, and I am asking that our Democrat colleagues allow it to even just move forward for a hearing.
In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time is now 6:09. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Ellsworth School Department is looking to enact a cell phone ban in their schools. We'll have more on that ahead. But first, let's take another look at our forecast. For today, we have a bit of a wintry mix going on with highs right around 42 degrees. Overnight tonight, we'll have a wintry mix with some extra rain, temperatures right around 36. And for tomorrow, we'll have rain and snow and wind, highs around 58. We'll be right back.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister. Your buddy. The ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Right now, get over $7,300 total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado. Plus, Costco Executive members can get a $12.50 members-only incentive.
Is your Maine-issued license or ID expiring soon? Good news! You may be able to skip the trip to the BMV and renew it online, including if your license or state ID is Real ID compliant. Visit maine.gov/SOS/BMV today to find out if you're eligible to renew online. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, RSU 71 serves the towns of Belfast, Swanville, Searsmont, Belmont, and Morrill in Waldo County. At a school board meeting last night, members shared they're experiencing a decline in school-age children across that district, leading to discussions about potentially closing elementary schools. One of these is Kermit Nickerson School in Swanville, which board members say sees very low enrollment numbers.
We get administrative reports every month from all of our schools. They list the student enrollment, and Nickerson School is always the outlier. It's the lowest by far of any of the schools.
A vote was held last night about closing the school. That vote failed due to a lack of a 2/3 majority. It is unknown at this time whether the vote will be taken up again in the future. We have reached out to the RSU 71 superintendent, but have not heard back yet. Well, the Ellsworth School Department is the latest in a growing list of Maine school boards to enact a policy banning cell phones in schools. Our Callie Warren has the details.
It's no surprise that the nature of cell phones can be a little distracting. Callie? Especially in a classroom setting, which is why a lot of school districts in Maine are looking at doing away with them on school premises entirely, including the Ellsworth School Department.
This policy is required by the state of Maine that we have some sort of policy in place by the fall.
For the Ellsworth School Department, that new policy states that all students, from pre-K to seniors in high school, must have their phones put away from the first morning bell to afternoon dismissal. It passed Tuesday night, 5-1. The school department's current plan is to use high-strength magnetic pouches that students would receive and put their personal devices in. The pouches would be opened by strong magnets that only faculty would have access to. Superintendent Amy Bowles says it may take some getting used to for kids and teens who don't know a world without technology.
I mean, they don't understand or know what it's like to not have personal devices. Bringing students back to a focus on academic learning. Schools that have done a ban have seen lessened behavioral issues, including bullying.
The policy allows exemptions for students with medical needs that are managed by technology, diabetes being one example. Some students report frustration with the fact that they're not able to use their personal devices during lunchtime and breaks from the classroom.
You have face-to-face collaboration. The other 5 or 6 hours in every other class, this is their break time that I feel it's sometimes hard to dictate how they collaborate with people.
Bowles says the policy will be reviewed at the end of the next school year, and any necessary adjustments will be made. Callie Warren reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 6:15. After the break, severe storms hit the middle of the country overnight with many tornado threats. We'll have more on that ahead. Plus, the Bangor City Council voted on organizations that will benefit from opioid settlement funds. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. We are the top source for screen printing, embroidery, branded merchandise, and direct-to-garment printing. With decades of experience, state-of-the-art equipment, and a commitment to excellence, why trust your apparel products with anyone else? And now, Brandywine Graphics can easily launch online stores for your school or organization. Simply design your products from brands like Eddie Bauer, Carhartt, and more. Share the link and we'll do the rest. Like we said, Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. Find out more at brandywinegraphics.com or at our Hamden location.
When the unexpected happens. Really? We'll get you running again. Uninterrupted. Together, we're United. United Ag and Turf, your local John Deere dealer.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
The city of Brewer has repaid Northern Light Health more than $773,000 in taxes that a judge ruled were incorrectly assessed. That ruling was handed down in January, and the city has confirmed the money has been repaid to that health system. The mistake occurred in how the two systems' buildings were assessed. The judge ruled the buildings should have had tax-exempt status, but were assessed incorrectly. The city says that the $773,000 payment came from a separate account, and it will not affect overall city finances there. And at Monday night's meeting, the Bangor City Council voted and finalized the list of local organizations that will benefit from roughly $641,000 in opioid settlement funds awarded to the city. The list of recipients is based on the recommendations of the Opioid Settlement Funds Advisory Committee, which the council says met more than a dozen times to make decisions on which groups would receive those funds. They received 32 grant applications and narrowed down the final slate to 16 awards. On Monday night, the council voted 8-1 to accept the committee's final list for the award recipients, but there were calls for increased transparency and oversight from multiple councilors.
It doesn't seem like, there's much of accountability and reporting, transparency back to us. And I think that that's our responsibility. So maybe moving forward, we could discuss what we expect for those types of measures when we give these grants out.
I would say that having a standing committee, chaired by one of their own, as well as appointed from members across all of these organizations who are on the front lines of this crisis, may be our best shot at trying to get some of that coordination that we're longing for.
The list of grant recipients includes Wellspring, Needle Point Sanctuary, the Bangor Y, and Bangor Public Health and Community Services. For a full list, we have a link to this story on our website. Well, the time now is 6:19. Let's get a full look at our forecast. Meteorologist Devin Biggs is in with the latest.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier, 249-3040. Alrighty, here we go. Advisories posted. Winter weather advisories up until later on this evening at around 11 p.m. Winter storm warnings up until Thursday at around 2 a.m. And further down toward the south, we have some advisories also also up along the coast. Some small craft advisories up through Thursday at 6 a.m. and gale watch is also posted through Thursday at around noon. But in the meantime, wave heights at around 3 feet, so not bad as of yet. While farther out towards sea, still not bad at around 3 to 4 feet at this moment in time. Our focus now is on the system that's moving in from the west and going toward the east that will bring this wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. A lot of ice on the way with this system that will be tracking from the west and going toward the east. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw some thunder ice, I guess you could say, too, as it tracks off to the east. A lot of lightning with this system too that is tracking off towards the east, and we are going to be watching for energy that will be moving in throughout the day. Look at all this pink. That's ice concerns too, primarily further off towards the north throughout today and also into the evening. We'll see that pink push further off towards the north with warmer air that will be pushing in, especially in your Thursday. Some breaks as well, but notice by Thursday evening we'll get some colder air pushing in and things will begin to calm down and clear out too. So Friday will be much better. A lot of ice on the way too, up to a ½ inch of ice possible across the northern parts of the state. This will cause trees to go down. This will cause power outages. Make sure the northern parts of the state are prepared for this and maybe long-term power outages too. Notice not much of an ice concern further down toward the south, so that's good news there. A little bit of a snow possibility too, so snow not a big concern there. The big concern will be the ice. But for today, here's what we got. Low 40s, rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. East wind at around 20 miles per hour. By tonight, that wintry mix switching over to rain with lows in the mid-30s and then rising, and that south wind at around 15 miles per hour. Upper 50s tomorrow and then falling sharply with rain and snow, windy, and the winds turning out of the west at around 30 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. Partly cloudy for your Friday with highs in the low 40s. Low 40s again Saturday with a chance for rain and snow. Partly cloudy Sunday, highs in the low 40s.
GMA this morning. Jennifer Lopez taking you way behind the scenes of her new Vegas residency, where cameras never go.
You know I'm only doing this for GMA.
This morning on
Good Morning America, all the way from Vegas.
No. I'm in my own head.
What the heck are you talking about?
I think I got away with something that I shouldn't have. See that brand new Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid.
Finish that bucket on your own. Practice makes perfect.
Enjoy your new car.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Palisade SE for $319 a month, or get 3.99% APR for 60 months. Hurry in.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. More Americans watch ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast.
The fun never stops at Wheel. You got it! It's a goal!
And the crowd goes wild. A truly historic bonus round on Wheel of Fortune. Somebody could win $500,000. Where are you going? The pass out. Exciting giveaways ahead, like fabulous vacations, and let's manifest another $1 million winner. You're a millionaire.
Oh my God!
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Now to the war in Iran and oil prices after the U.S. Energy Secretary took down a post on social media about protecting ships. The Pentagon says the U.S. forces are stepping up attacks on Iranian ships to protect oil tankers. The move comes with gas prices here at home rising more than 40 cents in the last week. ABC's Marcus Moore has the latest.
This morning, new video from Central Command shows multiple strikes on Iranian Navy vessels. U.S. officials say 16 mine-laying vessels were destroyed near the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has reportedly been planning to use mines to disrupt oil shipments. President Trump warning if for any reason mines were placed, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. The strikes on Iranian ships coming on what officials describe as the most intense day of the war so far.
The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever.
The U.S. and Israel hammering Iran, where local officials say more than 1,200 people have now been killed. The White House insists U.S. attacks are focusing on military targets. But Iran's Persian Gulf neighbors, from Saudi Arabia to Turkey, are still intercepting missiles and drones. And we're learning more about the drone strike that killed 6 U.S. troops at a base in Kuwait.
Kind of looked around and I saw everything was just smoke and fire and crazy and chaos.
Minnesota Army Sergeant First Class Corey Hicks describing to ABC affiliate KSTP the moment that drone came crashing in.
I remember turning my head to the left and I seen the nose of that drone popped through, and as soon as it did, I knew what it was. It was either a missile or a drone, so I turned to my right, and that's when it blew up and just blew the whole building apart.
He's one of the estimated 140 U.S. service members injured in this war so far.
Life is precious. Life is short. You never know when you're going to be put in a situation like we were in.
Back in Iran, another sign of defiance, a police official posting a chilling message to any potential protesters demanding regime change. The official saying that police will have their hand on the trigger. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Doha.
Meanwhile, a suspect accused of throwing improvised explosives at a New York City protesters appeared to have purchased fuses days before. Video shows 18-year-old Amir Ballat purchasing a 20-foot roll of consumer safety fuse from a Phantom Fireworks in Pennsylvania. The purchase was made just 2 days after the U.S. and Israel launched its first airstrikes on Iran, according to that retailer. Ballat and 19-year-old Ibrahim Kayumi allegedly threw the ignited explosives into an anti-Islam protest outside the residence of Mayor Zohran Mamdani on Saturday. The protests, called Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City, drew about 20 participants. A counter-protest drew roughly 125 participants. Police say both teenagers have been taken into custody and face 5 federal charges. The FBI says both defendants allegedly support the terrorist organization ISIS. Now to those violent storms in the middle of the country and the threat of more today. A long storm front spawning confirmed tornadoes from Texas to the Midwest yesterday, causing lots of damage. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
Overnight, severe storms and dangerous tornadoes stretching from Texas to Michigan.
Everybody, get in, get downstairs.
In Kankakee County, Illinois, residents urged to take cover as a powerful twister moved through. The storm causing widespread damage. The roofs of these homes blown off, other buildings destroyed. Debris scattered across roads. The impact stretching into neighboring Indiana.
There's several houses that have been hit, a lot of damage. Please do not come here.
Another concern, hail in some areas as big as softballs, pounding this lake in Kansas City. Also in the storm's path, southwest Michigan, still recovering after multiple deadly tornadoes slammed the region last Friday. The system is now moving east, expected to bring strong storms today from Louisiana all the way to New York. Meanwhile, in the west, a rare March heat wave is developing. Temperatures could approach 100 in Southern California.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
In other news, multiple Disneyland employees are hospitalized on Tuesday after reporting dizziness and shortness of breath. The Anaheim Police Department says the symptoms were due to an unknown odor in the backstage area of the Tomorrowland Stars Tours attraction. At least 7 cast members were transported to local hospitals, while others were treated by paramedics on scene. No park visitors have reported any issues so far. Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, a Bucksport Cafe hosts Stitch and Sip events for the community, with popularity starting to rise. This and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Davis Brothers Furniture is expanding. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest, and we are now proud to offer flooring for your home, featuring both carpeting and luxury vinyl flooring. We even have an installer in-house with over 30 years of experience. Come see the reason people have been traveling from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford for decades. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different, delivering statewide.
Every year, communities recognize outstanding service with the Spirit of America Foundation Tribute. Do you know a local person or group that goes above and beyond for others? Nominate them today by contacting a select person, city, or town councilor. Help honor those who make a difference where you live. For more information, visit spiritofamerica.website.
Somebody had to leave.
Yes.
And they left.
Mom loses her live-in sitters.
Who was taking care of your daughter?
60% of the time, my parents, 40% Montana.
Is that right?
No. The majority of the time, we did have her.
After fed-up roommates pack it in.
Where was your boyfriend?
He lived with his mother.
But staying with you?
No.
He would usually work nights and come over in the morning and just hang out all day.
Next, Judge Judy.
Wednesday at 5 on ABC 7.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Sip and Stitch events are becoming increasingly popular here in Maine. You can find them at libraries, restaurants, and other community spaces, including the Phoenix Cafe in Bucksport. Our Jody Hersey takes us there.
Kelly Barrett of Orland always dreamed of owning her own restaurant.
Just a little cafe, not that many seats, something intimate and comfortable where people can come and be part of the community.
Barrett's dream came true in 2023 when she purchased Verona Wine and Bistro off Main Street in Bucksport and renamed it the Phoenix Cafe. She is not only the owner, but the chef who offers an a la carte menu.
If you want to have plantain fritters and a cup of soup and a Cuban sandwich, you can have all of those things all at once.
Barrett also hosts book fairs, winter markets, and Sip and Stitch events at her restaurant.
I'm new to Maine just in this last year. I work over in Ellsworth, and I always saw that this was going on, kind of on and off in the events, and so I'm glad I was able to make it today, and I just wanted to kind of get out in the community and meet other people.
These ladies say knitting circles have been around for centuries.
There's centuries of tends to be women getting together and, exchanging patterns, stitches, sharing knowledge.
Residents say having a place to gather with like-minded crafters is essential for small Maine communities.
And we all have that common need to talk and to be together. That's the thing, everybody's very supportive about each other's work.
Women supporting women in both business and in life. In Bucksport, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Now let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
All righty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier, 249-3040. All righty, here we go. We have advisories posted. We have a winter weather advisory in a purple that will last until later on today or this evening at around 11 p.m. Winter storm warnings until Thursday at around around 2 a.m. And we also have some advisories along the coast. Gale watches until Thursday at around noon, and also some small craft advisories or so that are also posted. Meanwhile, as we do move forward, we're watching precipitation moving in from the southwest and going toward the north and east. So we are going to be watching for this wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow that will be moving in later on today. Doesn't look like a whole lot just yet, but we are seeing it moving from the west and going toward the east. Even some lightning with this too. So a lot of energy with the system that will be moving in our direction, really getting going later on today. A lot of ice with this system further off towards the north before it transitions over to rain with warmer air that will be on the way very soon. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of clouds and the precipitation gets going this afternoon with temperatures warming into the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Melissa Dawn.
Already getting emotional.
She's back in the best of both worlds. Miley Cyrus is returning to the role of Hannah Montana to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of this series, and Disney Plus has just released the first trailer. This special will mark Miley's first time in the iconic blonde wig in 15 years. Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special is set to debut on Disney Plus on March 24th. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. Beyoncé and Dr. Dre are officially listed as billionaires. The two music moguls joined 22 other entertainers on the Forbes 40th Annual World Billionaires list. Forbes announced Beyoncé had become a billionaire back in December. Dr. Dre was just named one on Tuesday.
Mamma mia.
Universal Pictures has released the final trailer for the new Mario Brothers film, The Super Mario Galaxy Movie, as well as announcing several new voice actors, including Issa Rae as Honey Queen and Donald Glover as Yoshi. The Super Mario Galaxy Movie is slated to release in theaters on April 1st. And happy birthday to actress Jodie Comer. The Killing Eve star turns 33 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Adon, ABC News.
Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports. Don't go away.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister. Your buddy. The ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Right now, get over $7,300 total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado. Plus, Costco Executive members can get a $12.50 members-only incentive.
When it comes to your home, go to the source. Go to R&B's Home Source in Madison. R&B's Home Source has home comfort, convenience, and savings all wrapped up in one location. From the living room to the dining room to the bedroom, we have some of the best values in furniture and bedding. For the kitchen, R&B's Home Source has top-notch appliances from fridges to ranges, even washers and dryers. And sit back and relax with quality electronics. We service everything we sell too. For your home, go to the source. R&B's Home Source, Lakewood Road, Madison.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Back in, folks. Tuesday was just an absolutely gorgeous day, and the sun was shining bright on the Maine women's basketball team as they punched their ticket to the America East Final. The Black Bears beat number 3 Binghamton 60-56 in front of a sold-out Memorial Gymnasium on Monday night. That win secured them a spot in the conference championship game against the top-seeded Vermont Catamounts, who beat UMBC in 2 overtimes. America East Player of the Year Adriana Smith led the way for Maine, scoring 26 points, paired with 12 rebounds, while senior Sarah Talon added 17 points of her own. However, the Black Bears had a rare, poor three-point shooting night. They went 4 for 20 from beyond the arc, but they found a way to win, and that's a scary sight for opponents.
You got to take what they give you, right? And we did. I think our defense was really good too. Like I said last game, that's how you win a championship. So.
And I also think that's how we go by. You know, we find a way on both sides of the ball. Find a way. If one thing's not working, we're gonna find something else, and we're gonna find a way because that's just how hardworking this team is.
That game in Burlington tips off at 5 p.m. on Friday night. The winner punches their ticket to the Big Dance. These two met in the championship game just 2 years ago in Orono, where Maine won the title. The Maine men's hockey team will begin Hockey East tournament play this weekend when they head south to take on the Boston College Eagles in the quarterfinals. The Black Bears faced the Eagles twice earlier this season, dropping the first game 7-3 before following it up the next night with a 3-0 win. Maine has been in this position before, but head coach Ben Barr says the team has a much different look from last year, and it'll be up to the veterans to get the guys going on Friday night.
You know, half of these guys, this is their first time ever playing in a playoff game, so you know, we're going to rely on the veterans to, you know, to be really good, obviously, and get us off to a good start in the game. I think that's going to be key, and then, you know, hopefully these younger guys can, you know, can get up to speed pretty quick.
The Bates women's basketball team has danced their way to the NCAA Division III Sweet 16. The Bobcats are racing an 18-point deficit Friday night to stun Smith in overtime, 74-70 with the win. The Bobcats improving to a program best 26-3 record and are still flying high over Saturday night's amazing comeback win.
We saw this as an opportunity not only to keep our season alive, but to beat a really established team and prove ourselves at a national level. And so we really executed on that, and it was a lot of fun.
We know how hard we've worked for this all season, and just to see it paying off is really awesome. And we're very confident going into Scranton, and that's what our mindset should be.
It was a busy weekend of free agency and trades in the NFL, and the Patriots have made some big moves of their own to help bolster that roster. One of the biggest signings for New England came on Tuesday with the acquisition of wide receiver Romeo Doubs. Doubs put up nearly 800 yards last season in Green Bay and will likely have a big role in the Pats' offensive scheme next year. New England also acquired Ravens defensive end Draymond Jones. Jones spent time with both Tennessee and Baltimore last season, put up a career-high 7 sacks in 2025. Offensive line help is coming in the form of Elijah Vera Tucker, who missed the entire 2025 season with the Jets due to a torn tricep. The Pats' underrated signing of the weekend was fullback Reggie Gilliam. Gilliam wasn't a huge contributor with the ball in his hands for Buffalo, but what he provides in the run-blocking game makes up for his lack of carries. Some key departures so far include defensive tackle Kairos Tonga, tight end Austin Hooper, and offensive lineman Bordarian Lowe. Sticking in the NFL now, and on the topic of the offseason, major news breaking just a few hours ago on Tuesday night. The Baltimore Ravens have backed out of the trade agreement with the Las Vegas Raiders for superstar edge Max Crosby. The Raiders and Ravens had initially agreed to send Crosby for a 2026 and 2027 first-round pick. Reports have come out that Crosby failed his physical, which is the cause of calling the trade off. Trades and signings are not made official until Wednesday at 4 p.m. It'll be interesting to see how the Raiders navigate having Crosby back on the books. Rounding out the free agency news, Maine football alum Pat Ricard signed a new deal with the New York Giants. He spent the first 9 seasons of his career with the Baltimore Ravens. Ricard is a 3-time Pro Bowler. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Hanks Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hanks Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the CNR Promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with CNR Carpet Cleaning.
In 1977, Ford F-Series became America's best-selling trucks. And we've kept that title every year since. F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 49 years. And Ford, the most awarded brand for initial quality among trucks by J.D. Power.
Now get 0% APR plus $1,000 on F-Series, including a 1-year maintenance plan. Only at your New England Ford dealers.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, kindness was definitely the guide for one high school English teacher who challenged each of her students to put a little love in your heart. As we highlight inspiring women during Women's History Month, we're shining the spotlight once again on a teacher who started a movement that was all about the $20 bill. Here's ABC's Danny New.
What did you do when I gave you the $20?
You may recall our story last year with English teacher Christina Ulmer and her tradition called the $20 Kindness Challenge.
Usually the first week or so, they'll say, are we doing your kindness thing?
Christina has become famous around Horsham, Pennsylvania for, twice a year, giving all of her high school students a crisp $20 bill with a simple assignment. Do something kind with it.
I donated toys to Glad Dogs Nation.
Over the years, students have used that money to bake cookies for nursing homes or pass out flowers to strangers. Whatever they choose, each act also honors Christina's sister, Kate, who tragically passed away in a car accident in 2014. Christina used the cash from Kate's purse to fund the first challenge a few years later.
Like I can just see her there doing the things that my students are doing. So it does make me think about her a lot more.
And now we have an update on that mission to honor Kate and spread her generous spirit.
Oh, after the piece aired, then the donations went up like crazy.
After our story aired, Christina says donations skyrocketed, and she started receiving letters from around the country with gifts or just notes of appreciation. In fact, a few months ago, Christina officially got the $20 Kindness Challenge registered as a nonprofit, which apparently...
Do you know that was your idea?
That was my idea?
You're the first person who were like, maybe you could help other teachers. And I was like, maybe I could. That's actually an interesting idea.
Now with the challenges, increased influence and resources.
So grateful to have Christina's challenge.
Christina has inspired teachers in other states to try this with their students, like Amy in Delaware.
Christina, I cannot thank you enough.
And this coming April, for the first time, Christina will be funding another class. Fittingly, it'll be with Siri in New Jersey, who is Christina's typing teacher in middle school.
That feels pretty amazing to be able to give back to her.
There are also resources on the Foundation's website to help people with starting their own $20 Kindness Challenge. And Christina says she has personally guided both schools and churches across the country throughout the past year. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
And a man from Mobile, Alabama is the first to claim a unique offer from an oyster house in his hometown. Fox's Shelby Myers reports.
The Rushmen love raw oysters. Although they grew up in Mobile, they live in Florida now. But coming to the downtown Mobile Winsel's location is tradition.
My dad and I started riding in a parade at Mardi Gras on Friday nights. And so we would come down here on Friday afternoon and eat oysters. And that started in 1972.
On the walls, dozens of signs with quotes and witty jokes. But there's one that's been a decades-old obsession to Carl Rush.
But I can quote by heart. Free oysters to any man 80 years old accompanied by his father. So in seeing that sign, we felt like our dad was going to make it to 100 because he's in great health. So we've been talking about it as a family for 25, 30 years.
We're the FC bartender. Anybody ever done it? On one hand. So, well, we'll be the first.
We're the number ones.
Carl's older brother Jimmy would be the first to turn 80. His father...
You're the 80-year-old. And how old are you, sir?
That leaves 99. Me the other one. I'm 99.
Yep, Jim is 99 years old. And other than losing his vision, says he's in great health.
Except I've just been very lucky and very well taken care of through my God, and it worked out. Yep.
The Rushmen turned the event into a huge celebration, inviting about 60 family members and friends to Winsel's. Jimmy says it's been his best birthday yet.
Never thought about any birthdays except my 80th. That's the one I was looking forward to.
Because of the sun?
Because of the sun.
And Winsel's kept its promise, delivering a dozen free oysters to the 80-year-old. Besides Jim's 100th birthday coming up, the Rushmen say they're looking forward to doing this again.
Well, we will be back to do this all over again October of 2028 when I turn 80. So my dad said he's going to make it, so it's good enough for me.
Now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier, 249-3040. Alrighty, here we go. Advisories posted. Winter weather advisories up until later on this evening at around 11 p.m. Winter storm warnings up until Thursday at around 2 a.m. And further down toward the south, we have some advisories also up along the coast. Some small craft advisories up through Thursday at 6 a.m. and gale watch is also posted through Thursday at around noon. But in the meantime, wave heights at around 3 feet, so not bad as of yet. While farther out towards sea, still not bad at around 3 to 4 feet at this moment in time. Our focus now is on the system that's moving in from the west and going toward the east that will bring this wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. A lot of ice on the way with this system that will be tracking from the west and going toward the east. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw some thunder ice, I guess you could say, too, as it tracks off to the east. A lot of lightning with this system too that is tracking off towards the east, and we are going to be watching for energy that will be moving in throughout the day. Look at all this pink. That's ice concerns too, primarily further off towards the north throughout today and also into the evening. We'll see that pink push further off towards the north with warmer air that will be pushing in, especially in near Thursday. Some breaks as well, but notice by Thursday evening we'll get some colder air pushing in and things will begin to calm down and clear out too. So Friday will be much better. A lot of ice on the way too, up to a ½ inch of ice possible across the northern parts of the state. This will cause trees to go down. This will cause power outages. Make sure the northern parts of the state are prepared for this and maybe long-term power outages too. Notice not much of an ice concern further down toward the south, so that's good news there. A little bit of a snow possibility too, so snow not a big concern there. The big concern will be the ice. But for today, here's what we got. Low 40s, rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. East wind at around 20 miles per hour. By tonight, that wintry mix switching over to rain with lows in the mid-30s and then rising, and that south wind at around 15 miles per hour. Upper 50s tomorrow and then falling sharply with rain and snow, windy, and the winds turning out of the west at around 30 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. Partly cloudy for your Friday with highs in the low 40s. Low 40s again Saturday with a chance for rain and snow. Partly cloudy Sunday, highs in the low 40s.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
I never get the flu.
My kids don't need more shots.
I don't have time.
We're all healthy.
No matter how you build your excuses, the flu can blow your house down.
I can't believe I used up all my sick time.
I missed a week of school during finals.
Now my baby has it because of me.
The hospital?
Keep your foundation strong. Vaccinate.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
What I'm seeing here is him asking for his money back that he gave you when he says he can't even eat.
I felt bad.
That you're taking all this money from him and now he can't eat?
Hot Bench. Wednesday at 3 on ABC7.
Spin the wheel, the letters call, one right guess could win it all. Wheel of Fortune, laughter, fun, weeknights at 7, join everyone. On ABC7, watch and play, Wheel of Fortunes here each weekday. I'm Rick from Brewer, and I'm a wheel watcher.
It's an annual Blaine House tradition. Governor Janet Mills tapped the maple tree at the Blaine House yesterday, just weeks ahead of the annual Maine Maple Sunday weekend. Maine Maple Sunday is the state's annual celebration of an industry estimated to generate around $55 million in economic activity. According to Governor Mills, Maine is the 4th leading producer of maple syrup in the country and produces more than 500,000 gallons of maple syrup each year. However, she says there is still much that can be done to help the industry grow.
Maine Maple Producers Association is committed to advancing education, technology, friendship, and the promotion of maple products within today's maple industry, while supporting its members with tools and opportunities to produce and market pure Maine maple syrup in Maine, nationally and internationally.
The governor encourages families to take part in the 43rd Maine Maple Sunday weekend on March 21st and 22nd. Sugar houses will be open statewide for visitors to meet producers, enjoy candy sampling, syrup, and much more there. Well, police officers in California sprang into action after getting an unusual call, helping a beloved family pet in his time of need. Anaheim patrol officers responded to a public assist call about a dog whose jaw got stuck in a crate. The dog's owners were unsuccessful in trying to free him and made the 911 call in distress. Footage shows officers arriving to the home and coming face to face with a pup named Jax, who was bleeding and crying in pain. Video shows officers using bolt cutters to carefully pull apart the crate, freeing the dog in moments. According to police, Jax is now doing well and he is safe. Well, dolphins were seen in the East River in New York on Tuesday morning. The Randall's Island Park Alliance shared that video on social media. Take a look here. Footage shows a small group of short-beaked common dolphins swimming and jumping out of the water in a river near Randall's Island. Officials say although this is not a rare occurrence, dolphins usually don't come out this early in the year. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22. Have a great day, everyone.
Many times. Tired of being customer 45978? Yeah, we would be too. Speed means fast uploads, no lag, and zero buffering. But it also means calling you back, showing up on time, and treating you like a person, not a problem. So whether you're working, streaming, gaming, or all three, it is time to make the switch to a provider that actually tries. Go NetSpeed. Service isn't dead. It just moved local.
So
$1,000 every year for the rest of my life, and maybe yours too.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
congratulations! You have built the perfect line! I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. This is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Good Morning Maine on WFVX, Fox 22. From the Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Republican lawmakers are criticizing Governor Janet Mills' response surrounding MaineCare. We'll take a look at their press conference coming up. Plus, Business Day was hosted at the State House, an event where lawmakers showcase Maine's business sector. And an elementary school in Waldo County may be closing its doors due to low enrollment rates. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up, and as always, we thank you for joining us. The temperatures today are definitely going to dip back down, and we'll have a chance of rain later on. Let's start out this morning by getting a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast